Hi, I'm Rachel, and as some of you know, I study architecture and environmental design at the University of Nottingham. I'm going to be running through all the different equipment that you'll be expected to bring with you when you come to university. Architects really love their stationery, and it ended up costing me about 200 to 300 quid, and I tried to do it the cheapest way possible. I'm going to leave you a list of sort of the cheapest links where to get this stuff from, and I'm going to be telling you which things are important to buy, what things you might just want as an extra, and the things that they didn't actually say that we needed but we ended up having to buy later. At the University of Nottingham, your first year of studio is entirely hand-based, so you won't be doing things on AutoCAD. Pretty much everything that you do is done by hand. So you'll be making orthographic drawings of floor plans and elevations by hand. I'll show you the pens and everything you need for that. But yeah, in second year you'll start to do it all on the computer, so a lot of this stuff you won't necessarily be using after first year. If you can get this stuff second hand, do. Another thing to quickly say before I show you the stationery is computers. You'll need a laptop, you'll need that for any course you're doing, but a common misconception is that a Mac is better than a Windows. It's a big debate that everyone talks about, but in terms of architecture, you can't get all the programs for Mac, whereas you can for Windows. So a lot of people buy a Mac thinking that it's better for graphics, which arguably is, but you can't get all the architectural software, particularly Revit, and I know that a lot of people have struggled with that. If you've already got a Mac and you don't want to buy a new laptop, that's fine. You can use university computers. All the computers in the department have all the software that you need, and all the subscriptions are paid. So if you want to do it that way, that's fine. And while we're talking about laptops, get yourself a hard drive. They are an investment. This contains so much more than my computer, and your computer will just get jammed, and you don't want to be losing stuff last minute, because that happens to a lot of people and it's not fun. Okay, so let's look at the list. First thing on the list is an A4 Studio sketchbook. They are a little bit fussy in first year. They say it has to be A4 black and preferably not ring bound, so this is just like straight binded. Everyone had one of these. It's pretty easy, not too expensive. You can also get this from anywhere. I think I got mine from Amazon, and I'll leave a link for a decent cheap one. Now, something they don't tell you to bring is detail paper. I only started using detail paper halfway through third year, but it has really changed the way that I design, and it's honestly one of the best investments I've made all year. It was £12 for a whole roll, but as you can see, haven't even finished it, so it'll probably last you the whole year. As a first year, this is definitely an extra thing to buy, but I really liked it, so you can try it out. So the next thing on the list is a sketching toolkit. It basically just means pencils, rubbers, pens, all that stuff. On the list it's really specific. It says you need propelling pencils, which are these. They just click and it comes out. It also says that you need to have a 2H, a HB, and 2B and 4B of different millimeters. You really don't need this. I ended up buying it, but I haven't really used it. Definitely get propelling pencil, but other than that, as long as you've got a 2B and a HB, you'll be fine. To be honest, it's whatever you're comfortable sketching with. I really like the propelling pencils, they're a bit neater. If you want anything else, that's up to you. You can also buy refills and they literally last forever. Other things that people like to sketch with are different weighted pens, so I really like this set, and it comes with loads of different weights. It literally ranges from 0.05 to 0.8. and you can get loads of different sets of these. If you don't want to spend too much money, I think uni ball pens are probably the best and cheapest. I got these ones later as a present, so maybe when your uni ball ones are out, but it's quite expensive when you first buy everything. Of course, you'll need a sharpener and a rubber as part of your sketching toolkit. Another thing that they say is you need masking tape. Again, you can buy this online or you can buy it in a DIY store. I was really confused why we needed this at first. You basically use it to attach whatever you're drawing onto your drawing board, so it doesn't move everywhere, and yeah, you need it, it's very useful. The next thing is a retractable ruler. Again, get this from your DIY store or you can get it online. This one cost me £2.85. You'll be going on site visits and you'll just use it to measure the dimensions of your site and the distances between things. The next thing it says you need is a good quality digital camera. Obviously I have this one that I'm filming it on, so I can't show you that. But to be honest, I actually think using your phone is better. You'll be using your camera to take pictures of models so that you can put them in your portfolio. But I find with my camera, even on macro settings, my models are too small to actually take good internal photos. I bought this phone last year. It's a Galaxy S8. And in terms of taking photos of models, this camera works better than anything else I've ever used. You can get within centimeters of what you're taking photos of and it will still focus. So if your camera has a good phone, don't bother splurging on anything else. You'll also be taking pictures on site visits, so for that I do use my actual camera. Again, you can still use your phone camera. Nowadays phone cameras are just as good. If you've got a DSLR or a compact cam, bring that to university as well. You can still use it, but definitely don't buy a new one. Next is a plain white short sleeve t-shirt. We ended up using this on the first week because we had a sort of fun group project and you all make your like team t-shirts. Just find the cheapest cotton one from Primark or something. Next is the A2 portfolio case. You will need your portfolio case for your first hand in. As I said before, in first year you'll be doing a lot of things by hand. You'll be using A2 paper a lot. I ended up carrying everything around in my portfolio case, but looking back on it, I would say it's worth investing in like a tube holder. I still don't have one, so I'm just gonna put a picture here. If you get one of those, you can just roll up your A2 paper and just sling it over, or else you end up carrying around your A2 portfolio everywhere. In terms of choosing a portfolio, my one cost me £30, which was probably the cheapest I could find. You need to make sure it's got clips on it so that you can attach your A2 sleeves. Again, architects are very specific about everything. In terms of A2 sleeves, it is worth investing in the slightly more expensive ones. I ended up buying really cheap ones the first time round, and they're honestly just not the same quality. I'll leave a link below to the ones that I recommend. And again, it's a shame because you won't really be using these after first year, but you will need about 40 for your hand-ins. For me, I was trying to save money, so I think I bought 30 to begin with, and then when I needed more, I ended up buying the extras that I needed. The next thing you need is an A2 drawing board. The worst thing about this is you will be carrying your A2 drawing board in and out of studio, which is really long if you're off campus. A lot of people will be selling these in the first few weeks of university. Second and third years don't use them anymore. On the email it suggests that you could get an A1 drawing board and it might last you longer. I did actually buy an A1 drawing board and have never used it. I've also got an A2 drawing board and that is what I have been using. So my advice is definitely don't get an A1 drawing board, you won't need it. A1 is far too big to be carrying in and out of studio every day. Next up is your Rotring pens. These are your very fancy architecture pens. I ended up buying a set and it came with a whole range of things. It came with 3 different weights of pens. They were 0.25, 0.35 and 0.5. You also got a Rotring pencil with refill pens and a stand that you can put the pens in while you're not using them. The lid of the case is also really useful. It comes with a protractor, a ruler and loads of different circles that you can draw around. One of the weights the university say they require is a 0.18. That doesn't come in the set, so I bought that separately. Again, it ended up being an extra that you didn't really need, and you could have got away with the 0.25 from the set. Another annoying thing about buying that pen is that it came with a blue ink cartridge and you need to make sure that they're black. So I ended up buying a refill pack here. Obviously it's good because you end up with extra refills, but I never ran out of ink, so it was a bit unnecessary again. Another thing you'll ask for is a single-sided razor blade. I honestly had no idea what this was before coming to uni, and it's one of these. I bought a whole set and you can basically just pull them out. Turns out it kind of acts as a rubber for your Rotring pens. So when you're drawing up your final plans with your Rotring pens, you're usually doing that on tracing paper. So you use your razor blade and you just kind of scratch it off the surface very neatly. And then if you use a rubber over the top, it kind of just softens it all out a bit. Next up, it says bring an adjustable set square, which is one of these. You can basically unscrew this part and then you pull it out to whatever angle that you want and you just tighten it up again. And this just makes sure that your angles are always right. The alternative to buying an adjustable set square is getting a 45 degree and a 30 90/60 angle. This is my one. I ended up buying this first and then buying the adjustable one after, because it depends what you're designing. I ended up designing things that didn't have the standard angles in them, so I definitely say it's worth buying the adjustable one and not wasting your money on one of these. If you do end up getting one of these, put some masking tape on the back like I have, and it just raises it up a little bit, so when you're drawing with ink it doesn't sit underneath the ruler, because if you do that it all smudges under and it's ruins your drawing, and I've learnt the hard way. Next up is a scale rule. This is mine. There are two different types of scale rule. You can either get one that looks like a normal ruler, it's flat, or you can get this tri-ruler. I don't know if it's called that, but it basically gives you extra scales that you might not have. Again, it's up to you. I like having the extra scales, but what you might find out is architects are very funny about their scales, and they don't like it if you don't use the standard ones. So in that case, if you just get the flat one, they are all the standard ones. This one has some of the ones that you might get told off for using. Another ruler, if you thought that you haven't had enough rulers, is this one. This is a cutting ruler. It's basically got safety grips on the back and it's made out of metal. And you'll need one of these for when you're cutting card to make a model. This is also another semi-ruler thing. Again, this wasn't completely necessary, but when you're drawing where the door swings, you'll probably need one of these. Another thing you can buy that I don't know the name of, and I also don't own, it's kind of like a ruler crossed with a wire, and you can shape it into whatever curvature you want. So if you end up designing something very curvy, buy one, but I wouldn't recommend getting one straight away. I've never had to use one. The next thing you need is a model making toolkit. The university provides these, so unless you've already got one, you don't need to buy one. This is one of the new ones the university provides, and it's from Morton. Inside you get 3 different handles. It comes with a whole range of different shapes of blades that you can just twist in and out. And the university also provides refill blades, so if they start to get blunt, you can just replace them straight away. Having said this, you will need to buy a cutting mat. This is mine. I got mine from Tiger. You can get them from any craft store or online. Mine's A3, which makes it easy to take into studio. It would be nice to have an A2 one, but I normally end up borrowing someone else's and then putting it next to it, because when I'm making a model I just spread out everywhere. The next thing on the list that you need are A2 sheets of mounting board and A2 sheets of good quality tracing paper. Both of these you can get from university as well, so don't buy those. Things it doesn't mention are glue. This is the one the university provides. I didn't enjoy using it. It takes a long time to glue and it's very runny. What I would recommend is Yoo-hoo glue. Something that's unnecessary but you might want to do is buying a syringe. You get a disposable needle and then you also get the syringey bit, and you can basically fill this up with glue and then it squirts out. The benefit of using this is hopefully you won't get any gluey mess everywhere. Obviously you want your models to be nice and neat, so that's an easy way to control it. Another way to control this cheaply is just getting a little bit of card and you can just dip it into the glue and use it almost like a paintbrush. And finally, something that they haven't put on the list, which you do definitely need, is a set of pins. These are mine. They're just plain clear pins. You'll be having crits where you pin up all your work and then they tell you basically what they think about it. It's not too scary, so don't be that worried, but you don't want to be turning up without pins. Buy them straight away before you come to university. I'm aware this is probably a very long video. It's a lot of stuff, but it is an investment. Architecture's not a cheap degree, and it is a really big shame that it puts a lot of people off it. So I hope that these links make it cheaper for you. I know I tried to find it as cheap as I could. Just start off with the bare minimum and you can build it up throughout your degree, just buying the little extra things that you need. As funny as architects are about all of this stuff, you probably will learn to love it. I have a secret guilty pleasure for all this stationery. Anyway, that's enough from me and I'll see you soon.